is up? And welcome to another episode of the Worship Based Coffee Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Soleil. Welcome in. Season 2, Episode 1. And I can't think of a better way for us to kick this off than with Mr. Ian Martin Allison. So grateful for him for taking his time to come on the show. And it was so cool to get to hear his story and even get to see him do a little teaching towards the end, which I think is a perfect example of why he deserves to be on the SBL team. Just going to dive right in here in a minute. But before we do, some housekeeping, I just wanted to let y'all know and announce today, when this podcast is released, the official Worship Based Coffee merch store has been launched as well with it. So if you guys are wanting to get a t-shirt, if you're watching right now, I'm actually wearing one of them. It's going to be a little bit different color. This was just a sample. It's going to be black and white. So if you guys are interested, there'll be a couple of ways that you can find it. Number one, it is worshipbasedcoffee.myspreadshop.com. So you can go to that, go on there and purchase, and it'll ship directly to you. Or in the caption portion of this episode on YouTube, I'll have the link there so that you guys can just click on the link. It'll take you right there. Or if you're following us on Instagram, you can go to our Instagram bio and it'll be in there in our links, and you can go in through that and you can click on it too. Just something a little fun, some t-shirts that Josh and I came up with, some ideas. Just thought it'd be fun so you can rep the Worship Based Coffee Podcast and let everybody else know about how great it is. So, but the greatness is the community is what helps it to make it great. So nothing that I'm doing. So thank you guys so much for listening. And guys, just really soak in, sit back, and enjoy this episode. Let's get to it.
What's up, Ian?
What's up? How are you guys doing?
Dude,
so good.
This is so like surreal for me because like I'm looking at seeing you on the screen right now, and it's like looks just like when I'm looking at my iPhone, but yet I'm talking to you right now.
It is kind of funny. It is funny. I mean, right before we started this, I was just talking about how like, yeah, it's just my basement. But I go through this if ever I jump on a Zoom call with anybody or like podcast with anybody that knows me from SBL or like bass world. They're like, whoa, it's the same background. I'm like, yeah, it's just sort of my office. It's like, it's literally just my basement. So yeah, it's the same place. Or like if I ever have to do like a school conference for my kids, like they'll be like, whoa, what's going on with a fancy background? I'm like, I guess I'm sort of a YouTuber. And they're like, what? It's really
That's
funny.
amazing.
I'm like,
that's the best way to explain it, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I'm a YouTuber. It's instead of trying to talk about the bass. Yeah.
Yeah.
Note to self, I want to live in Ian's basement.
Yeah. It's a pretty fun basement. I mean, I will say though, like I have the shot set up now where it looks like I'm very together. It looks like things are placed just so. But if you guys saw the floor, it's just chaos. It's just pedals and wires, and I put on a good front of organization and togetherness, but below the surface is the ramblings of a madman. So
that's like models when they are modeling a dress, and then if you were to take a picture from behind, it's like all taped.
Yeah, it's exactly
and everything.
Yes, yeah, it's like you do not want to see like how the sausage is made, or whatever the saying is. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, mine is the same way, especially right now. I'm tomorrow headed to student camp.
Cool.
I'm going to get to play at that. And so I've got like my Moog sitting here and pedal board, and I'm all doing the whole, rehearsal thing. So,
dude, I love it.
Well,
that's awesome.
Before we get started, Ian, there's something that I had to tell you, and this is like very special to me. And that is this podcast exists because of you.
Really?
And the reason I say that is for years, I've been listening to y'all's podcast, the SBL podcast. I love it. Every time I get to I'll start back with the first episodes that you were on, and I just start going through them all. And then as soon as I finish, I start back over again.
No way. Are you serious? That's crazy.
It's just fun, like on my way to work, kind of like decompressing on my way, and and get to hear different topics. And even if I've heard it before, I love it. But a few years ago, I was wanting to do this, and I was dealing with some major like perfectionism, just like, well, I'll do this once I do this.
Yes. Of
course. I'll do this
right.
once I've gotten here. And I kept putting these like steps in front of myself, and all it was doing was keeping me from creating. And I'll never forget, you came on and you were just like, guys, don't worry about all that. Just create. Just do it. Just have fun. And I remember messaging you and going, thank you for this. And it was like literally at that moment that I was like, I'm just going to go in and I'm just going to start this thing and just release all of that.
Oh, that's
and just,
so good.
So I just want to thank you for,
Yeah. Well, thanks for telling me that. I think if ever I give like advice, I'm sort of like, whoa, to give advice online. But whenever I do, it really is just a cover for telling myself, for saying the things out loud that I also need to hear.
Right.
Like the good word that I so desperately need in my life. And for me, I was listening to a podcast, this guy, Chase Reeves, who did, he actually was on this thing called The Fizzle Show, which actually Scott Devine learned how to start an online business with this thing called The Fizzle Show. So he was listening to Chase at the same time I was. We didn't even know that about each other. But Chase does like backpack reviews on YouTube.
Oh, right. I remember Scott talking about that.
He became sort of a guru to me because he's doing this backpack review. And you think you're there for the backpack review, but then he drops these nuggets of like wisdom and sort of life stuff. And you sort of find yourself, is this just a backpack review? No. He's hitting you with some parenting advice.
Yeah.
He's talking to you about how his parents are getting older and what that's like. And I mean, it's like heavy. And so I found that I was just comforted by his presence. Like I didn't care about the backpack, or whatever. He was reviewing some new tech bag. I didn't care about that. I just wanted to be around his kind of his personality. And he was a person that was saying, just start, just do it, because you're never going to have the perfect gear or the perfect.
Yes.
And that perfectionism, all it is just a mask for insecurity for all of us. It's just a mask for, once I get this, then I can start. If I get a nice 6K camera, then I can, but then like there's always another cool piece of gear you could buy. Right. So it's like, you just got to start on your dusty gear you got, and you get better the more you do it. So,
yep. Yeah. And what's funny is I remember you talking about how sometimes some of the most basic and least like effort videos and stuff that you did had the most success.
100%.
And you'd be like, I would spend 2 hours on this one video and it would hardly get noticed. And you're just like, what?
and then I would just point my phone at something and talk about it and think like, I don't know, but I'll just put it up. I haven't posted something in a minute, so I should, and I'd post that, and that would be the thing. I mean, I think like honestly, art is like that. I mean, even writing or bass lines or music, sometimes like, you hear about the biggest songs. It's like the song that almost didn't make the record, or like the bass line that you were like goofing around with, or like the side project that you didn't take so seriously. I feel like a lot of art is that way. It's sort of like when you're not so precious, when you're not so like vice grip on it. It kind of, it maybe actually is more of the spirit of you. And people like that. So yeah, man, I'm always at war with that, with content and doing productions, because I want to put effort in. I want it to be effortful. But also sometimes the stuff that bangs the hardest is like really off the cuff. It's crazy. It's weird. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, one of the ways I like to kind of kick things off is asking, what does a typical, and I say typical week look like for you?
A typical week. It depends on what I'm doing. So I guess everybody could say that, right? Typical week depends on what I'm doing. But if I'm in SBL mode, there's typically we do a big content week or meeting at the top of the week on Monday where we're deciding on what we're doing. And usually I lead the content team. And, if I have my ducks in a row, which I try to, we're talking about what content we're going to be making for the month. And then we get Scott and we, assign who's doing what. So it's me and Sharon and Scott for SBL. Scott's bass lessons. I try not to, probably the people that watch your show know what SBL is, but I try not to use the corporate acronym and just assume people know what all these things mean. But
right.
Yeah. So, and then Tuesday is sort of a content creation day. Wednesday, I'm sometimes doing streams. Thursday is more content creation, and Friday is sort of wrap up day. But that's if I'm in town. I'm really fortunate with SBL to be granted the freedom to also do sessions and touring. Like last year I was out all year with Ben Rector. And even though we only did 1 or 2 weekends a month, that would stretch sometimes into 5 days. And so then when I was out with him, that looks totally different. That's a tour schedule, where we're catching a flight and then hitting lobby call and sound check and right. And show times. And that's a completely different world.
Sure.
And then intermixed with all of that. So when I'm home, I'm also, I'm taking my kids to school and I'm picking them up and my wife works. And so I'm dad and I'm husband and, trying to make time for all of those things that matter the most, but
Right.
I've said this before, I struggle with being a workaholic. I really do. I think I wish more people, well, I don't know. I was going to say, I wish more people admitted this, but maybe it's just that I wish more people were like me. So I felt better. Maybe it's not that, but I feel like for a long time, especially when I was in church world and when I was playing there a lot of people talked about the family thing and talked about it, but, they didn't talk about what a struggle it was to sometimes prioritize time for that away from the things that they really loved about their career or about music. And I would listen in green rooms and I would nod along and, oh yeah, of course, family time and we love it. And of course we do. But no one would say, sometimes it's actually really difficult for me to prioritize my family.
Right.
And I would sometimes I wished in those environments that people would say that, because then I could go, oh, geez, boy, that I really resonate with that. Yeah. Because I feel like it's not okay to say maybe in the green room. And I wish it were, because then we could maybe talk about it.
Right.
But it's just deeper. I'm just right now, drilling this horrible hole. But that is, I've talked about it a lot on the podcast. Scott and I both, we really connected over this thing of we have this almost sort of myopic thing about our career and art and stuff. And I want a broader life. I do. I want family. I want to be a good dad. I want to be a good husband. But it is a struggle. It's a struggle for me, because this is left to my own selfish devices. This is all I would think about.
Right.
And I would become an insane person.
Right.
So yeah, it's the samurai sword. It's what cuts, and it's what cuts you,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I think that kind of ties in with what we opened with, and that is, it's what are you willing to admit, that, I can admit sometimes I'm not the greatest dad, and
Sure.
I don't, spend time with my family like I should, but I think being able to admit that, to me, is better. And I think, like you said, especially with other people, so other people can be like, yeah, you know what, me too.
Right.
And that we can all kind of just not, I wouldn't say comfort, but just kind of like, affirm each other and like saying, hey, sometimes we're going to fail, we're human.
Right.
And so
instead of this sort of propped up thing of like, we're all doing this so great, guys. Right.
Yeah.
It's the Instagram facade,
Of course.
like,
yes.
Look at my life on Instagram.
I know. Isn't it amazing? Yeah. Yeah. And then beneath the chute, it's just chaos. Yes.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
But before you jumped on, I was sharing with Jay, like, for me, it's like those little moments that I look back on and go, oh, I totally missed the mark there. Like I was telling Jay that my daughter came home from work and she was like pouring her heart out saying like, oh, I had like this horrible day. My allergies are bothering me. I took some Benadryl. I'm about to pass out. And my brain was somewhere else. And I was like, dude, you got to hear this guy playing this bass riff. It's crazy. And she was like, can I listen to it later? And I was like, yeah, okay. And then like 30 seconds later, it's like, you ever seen that? Like, have you had a V8? I was like, oh my gosh. What am I doing?
Yeah, right.
Like, come
so
on.
Good.
And it's just that struggle, like you said, of going like, all right, how can I pattern a solid work ethic and a pursuit of excellence for my kids?
Yeah.
But at the same time, not completely ignore them because they're really the priority. Like I do these things because I love these things, but I also love my kids more than I love these things. So
yeah, right.
How do I get that right? So that's really
sure.
good.
Oh, dude, of course. That brings to mind one for me. Do you guys know Ben Gowell by chance? He's a guitar player. He's like the main music guy at CCV, which is a big church in Phoenix. He's played with tons of artists, and he's an incredible human guitar player, father. He's like a model dude in my life. And there was a moment I got to go down and do a clinic there years ago. I remember just chatting with him. We were talking family and stuff, and he was asking me about my daughter, who was small at the time. And he asked like what she was into. And at the time she was into Shopkins, which were these like cheap plastic, and I was annoyed with the Shopkins because they were all over the place. And I was like, and I remember lamenting to Ben, oh yeah, my daughter's into Shopkins, just these cheap, crappy plastic things that are all over the place. Is driving me crazy. I'm stepping on them and it's just awful. And I'm going to try to get her into it. And he said, oh man, he's like, oh yeah, that's cool. He's like, my daughter's really into Shopkins too. I've been trying to like learn all the names because I just find like it's a cool connection point that it's something that I can actually like talk to her about and connect with her about. And I was just like, oh dear Lord.
It's like
I am failing, and he did it in a really sweet way. Like he didn't do it to be like a one-upsmanship dad moment.
Yeah.
But it hit hard.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going home. I'm going to learn the names of these things. I'm going to get down on the floor. I'm going to play, it's like sometimes you need to be checked.
Yes.
And if you can't do, like Josh, it sounds like you did it for yourself, which is incredible. Sometimes I need, another like father in my life to, to like,
hey, maybe connect with your daughter on these Shopkins.
Yeah, man. I mean, right? Like what a concept.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
No, that's great.
So, yeah.
That's great. You had kind of started to share a little bit. Can you share about your experience that you had, like with it was Saddlebrook, and I can't remember. There was another church that you had served at, and I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, man. So it was actually the two big ones for me.
Upper Room and Eaglebrook.
That's those.
Yes.
Those are the ones. Yes.
Yes.
So Upper Room was it was just like a Sunday night thing. And Eaglebrook is a big like mega church, multi-campus monster in the Midwest. I mean, I don't even know how many campuses there are now. Over 10, maybe even close to 20 now, but it's a big church. And I came in probably at the midway point, just kind of just to play some bass, and wound up doing some MDing, so musical direction. There's that other acronym. People are like, medical doctor? No, musical director. Yeah, make no mistake, not smart enough to do any of that. So it's interesting because I did not grow up in the evangelical church. I grew up in the Episcopal church, which is a very different thing, a very liberal church, actually, a very different vibe, and not sort of a born again version. We were very loose. I mean, my mom, we'd go to church, and then we'd take summers off, and my mom called it taking summers off from God. I mean, which is like, it's almost like blasphemy. I know, like I say that to Christian dudes, and they're always like, "Oh, well," But we just thought it was funny. Yeah. And I had the opposite experience of my friends. So I grew up in Kalispell, Montana, near a YWAM base. You guys, there's another acronym,
YWAM.
Youth with a Mission. Yes. And they were like, that was like the whippy end of the evangelical church world branch at the time. Right. And they were, they were changing lyrics of songs to secular songs and making them Christian songs. And they were the only like people, like young, cool people in my town that were playing music. And there was a music studio there too. But my mother was very wary of this organization. In fact, she was like, "No way. I do not want you going there," because she perceived it as cult. So she was like, "Absolutely not." And I would like sneak to the YWAM base and hang out with these guys. And so like there were friends of mine that went to youth group and were like, burning and breaking their rock CDs and their like Green Day CDs. And there was a moment where my mom said to me, like, "There will be no Stephen Curtis Chapman in this house, young man. Like, you will be listening to Metallica."
Right.
And Guns N' Roses, Led Zeppelin, absolutely. And there was even a moment where like, these guys, these YWAM guys, snuck me a copy of Jesus Freak by DC Talk. Oh. And I remember like putting it in, my CD player and like playing it, and like my mom being like, "Excuse me, what is that? What was that?" And I mean, I embellish a bit, but it's true. Sure. Like my mom thought that world was not the right way for her reasons. Sure. Right. So because of that, in a way, I was kind of drawn to it because it felt a little rebellious. So I literally had the opposite version of what so many, a lot of the guys or a lot of the folks that I've met that have grown up like in the evangelical church that have had a wide variety of experiences, some very good to some really terrible, all grew up in maybe a more of a conservative version of church, when I grew up in a very liberal version of church. So it wasn't, I just say that to give you guys context. Yeah. When I started to teach at a Christian college. I was the bass instructor at a college in Minneapolis called North Central University. And I was just doing bass lessons. But then, as it always is, there's like somebody that needs a bass player at a church. And I love playing the bass, and I know a little bit about church. And so I get pulled in, and I can hang in a green room, and I can not swear. And it turns out I actually don't drink. And so I was just this perfect sort of odd, outsider to drop into that world. And people were kind of curious, and because I didn't fully carry myself like, and I didn't wear all the right stuff, and I didn't I used the word lucky instead of, fortunate. And like, people are like, "Who is this guy?" Yeah, blessed. Yeah, thank you. See, I still use the wrong word. Exactly, dude. Exactly. I didn't speak the Christianese because I just didn't grow up in it. And what I discovered, I guess, is I had some very, very lovely experiences in that world. It taught me so much. I made some of my very dearest friends in that world, and had just got some like professional experiences in that world that were amazing. There were aspects of playing. I'm just trying to think about how to say this, how to say it, because I don't want to tiptoe around it. There were things like politically and things about the certain aspects of the church, especially a big organization like Eaglebrook, that just didn't align with my morality around, like, certain things would happen in the Twin Cities or the world that I couldn't reconcile with how they were delivering, with how they chose to engage with that material and how they chose to talk about it or sidestep things completely. And so it was hard for me to build trust beyond a professional level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. For sure.
So that was difficult for me in the church environment as a player. There was another church that sadly closed its doors not too long ago, called Upper Room, that was a far more engaged. I mean, they pretty much just talked about Jesus. And if you just talk about Jesus, boy, oh boy, it's there's certain things that are, I think, are kind of harder for like a big church to grapple with.
Sure.
And I think it was an incredible community, but very small, pretty liberal. And it closed its doors, sadly, but I really loved that place. And again, I loved playing and I loved the people. There was a time where I needed to say, okay, I need to step away from this. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even, somebody who is involved on a weekly basis in my church, and even for us, I see on the outside looking in, like, some of the unfortunate problems of these massive churches, and how, politics and all that. And when I say politics, I don't mean like government politics, but just the internal politics,
of course, yes,
of how churches operate and how sometimes that stuff can get so big that it takes away from what it's really all about,
Yeah.
So, I totally can understand that. Josh, you seemed like you were about to ask something.
No, I was just going to say, like, I think it's really interesting what you had described your experience being there. And I would say that you're probably not alone in that experience. I mean, myself, I've experienced, attending a church where I'm like, we can talk about Jesus at some point. It might actually make things a little bit better.
It's pretty dangerous these days to talk about Jesus, though, man. I mean, if you really want to do it, it's dangerous.
Right. But, and I talked to a friend of mine about a lot too, because sometimes we struggle with some of the things that Jay was talking about. And really what we always land on is, like, I think if you were to take the intent of the church from Acts and then apply it for today, like, I think church would look a lot differently today than what we're seeing. So anyway, I'm just trying to affirm some of the things that your experience and say, like, no, you're not like a one-off, even though you did have the exact opposite experience with music.
Well, it's funny because I have a lot of friends. I mean, a lot of folks. I know a lot of people that have left the church and, have pursued other things. And I also have a lot of friends that have stayed. And, a lot of people have asked me, like, how did you, like, they would say to me, like, how did you navigate it? Well, it seemed like you never got upset, or you never, like, I didn't storm out with middle fingers in the air, and some of my friends did,
right.
But it's because I didn't grow up in it. I didn't grow up in it and I wasn't hurt by it.
Yeah.
I came to it as an adult and kind of went, aspects of this are cool and aspects of this are weird. And so just assessing it as an adult, I was like, oh, okay, I can create boundaries, and then I can decide when enough is enough. And so it didn't affect me on like a 5-year-old level of, like, oh, my family and, and then, and then I interned in this church as a teenager. And, I have a lot of friends that came through and have pretty dark stories about that stuff. And again, and some that have really great stories. But I don't carry the same passion because I just didn't come up in it. I'm more of a kind of an onlooker.
Sure.
A guy that just wanted to play a DC talk record in my room, and my mom wouldn't let me.
That was a pretty fire record, though.
It was.
It's an awesome record. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk about like kind of some of the stuff that you learned like musically there? I know one of the things that you shared about in the episode, it was like on Our Church Gigs Worth It. You talked about just like, playing with incredible time, tone, attention, and learning the value of restraint.
Dude, yes. Oh man, you said it. I think I made the mistake, and I think I say this on that episode. That was a long time ago, but I made the mistake of coming in, listening to that music. This is so dumb. I can't even believe that I thought this, but I would listen to that music and think, oh, it's so simple. Well, I can do more and bring more flash and, pizzazz to this. And I didn't understand. I didn't understand what we were there for. I didn't understand the experience. I think I was coming at it. I mean, I'd seen like gospel services, and that world,
right,
like a gospel world, is not motivated by restraint or not in the same way. It's more elation and like fire it off when it happens. Whereas the sort of like more CCM Bethel Hillsong thing, like rock church vibes it's more like make yourself smaller and support this moment, which I actually think is incredible. And the servant role in that way actually speaks to what we should own as a role as a bass player, or what you should be comfortable with as a bass player. And maybe it's not all the time, but at its foundation, you are supportive, right? So learning how to enter into the bridge in a soft way and build it over those 8 ramps. Like, that's such an art. I mean, truly, like it's an art form. And thinking about like being really intentional about the line you play and the sound you bring. And I probably got out before everybody was using like tone hammers and micro synths and that, before like grind bass in church. Like I got out before that happened. But I remember like sitting in playback, we called it playback at Eaglebrook, where you go and sit and watch and listen to the service, like scrutinizing, like listening to yourself, watching yourself. How do you sound? Where are you being placed in the mix? How do you look? Like, are you appropriately postured? And I mean that in both ways. Like, do you feel like you look cool? But also, do you feel like you look like you belong in this environment doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing, which is providing this experience for a congregation to have an experience with God, right? And I did take that very seriously. Like I was never, even though, I talked about how I couldn't reconcile some things before, I knew what I was there to do. I knew that I was there to give these people that were coming there to have an experience. I wanted to give them that experience, I took that seriously. I was never like, oh, can't believe I'm doing this ever. I never felt like, oh, this is just like a cheesy gig. Like I took it seriously. I'd see people cry. That would make me want to cry. I was like, oh, so, and I'm a bass player and I'm a people pleaser. I want to play well. I want to play the perfect G in the perfect place. I wanted to do it right, So I got into it. I really got into valuing those same values. And I think that that's a big deal. Like if you know that in that world, restraint is the value until there's a moment, right? Until there's a moment that breaks and you turn on the pedal that brings you to that thing. Like that's critical. It's huge and it's beautiful when it all works and everybody's in that together and they're waiting and it's just like, like, wow, that's like an incredible feeling. So I learned a lot about that. And I will say too, two things that I probably don't give church enough credit for. Like this sound, and we'll see if this comes through on the, but like this sound that I use that I call Montana, Remember this song?
Yeah.
It's King of My Heart.
Yeah.
Like I remember, there were services where there wasn't like a piano player couldn't make it, or it was like a scaled down thing.
Right.
And I had been experimenting with that because I love old country music and Glenn Campbell and stuff. And so I remember thinking, wouldn't it be cool to do
nice.
Like wouldn't it be cool to do sort of like a chord melody version of that with that sound? And the producers loved it. And I got an opportunity to like play that way in church, maybe before I did it other places. And I so that's one. And the other one was I got to play in like a youth environment Wednesday nights. I'm like the old guy, like, when like Hillsong Young and Free was a thing. Do you guys remember that time?
Yeah.
Like that brief moment. Well, I don't know if it was brief, but it felt like sort of, it was a chapter. And that was all like, I was like, wow, it'd be so cool. Cause I was setting up the Ableton sessions. I was like, it'd be so cool to not have all that synth bass in the tracks. Like, could I just play all that stuff? And I had been experimenting with all that stuff for years, but it was like finally application of like, let's see if I can make the octave and the chorus and the drive thing work and sound cool. And since we're click locked, I'll do a delay thing and like lock up, and I had opportunities every single Wednesday to experiment with that stuff because it's students, right? And so it's not quite as like, and I feel like it's almost beta for at least at Eaglebrook. It was very cool. Students was like beta for the weekends. It was like try, and there was in leadership, and I really took this and talked to my bands about it. Like if you have a pedal, a guitar, a sound, an idea that you want to try, bring it on Wednesday. This is beta. This is where you get to use all that stuff and be a nerd and be a gear hound and try the thing and see if it works. And then if you feel good about it, like, and if it doesn't work, it's no big deal. But if it's cool and so that it helped me define that synth thing too. And I don't give church enough credit for that actually. So
that's
thanks,
amazing.
church.
I remember you talking about that on that podcast, how you were like that. I mean, you're like some of the presets that I have out now, the reason that they're out is because of that time that I had there and got to kind of shape them and all of that. It's
so true. Yeah. They're like, because where else are you going to use that stuff? I mean, wedding gigs, right? Like if you're playing Whitney Houston or Bruno Mars, or you're leaning into like 80s, 90s, or sort of that throwback stuff that's happening teens, 20s. That's another environment that helped me get it together too. But it's like, dance church in the 2000 teens. What a wild time that was. It was such a strange, crazy time. We're asking like the congregation to dance. Like in a like techno. I mean, I feel like 10 years before that, if anybody was like, you know what it's going to be? It's going to be EDM. We would have been like, nah. No, it isn't. And then it was.
Yeah. I was going to ask you your opinion on something. I had mentioned this to Josh. Why do you think that in the CCM world that like the Fender shaped objects are like the most played? Like, what do you think the reason behind that? Or do you think it's really why a lot of these other places, and you'll have to excuse if you can hear my son in the background.
Dude, I love it, man. I love it. I love it. Bring the kids. I just was I was like, are those my kids? I'm like, my kids are at school.
I thought the same thing. I was like, I'm 2 seconds away from somebody barging in. I know.
He's special needs, so sometimes when the TV is not working for him, he gets a little out of shape.
Great. That's great. So
but anyway, true. Me too. But yeah, so just curious your thoughts on why that's like the go-to for.
Dude, I love that you asked that question. I love that you asked that question because it's so aesthetic, right? Why is that? Why is it that like the CCM world is sort of dominated by like classic Fender, FSO, like the Fender shaped object? I wonder if it's about what we're modeling, right? So like in the rock, it's because we're modeling rock and roll, right?
Right.
Isn't it? We're modeling U2. Well, what's Adam Clayton play?
Sure, yeah.
Well, he's playing Fenders and he's playing 70s, 70s Ibanez. And what was John Paul Jones playing, right? Like what was Geddy Lee playing? What all of the, and what does Guy Berryman from Coldplay play, right? It's like we're modeling the behavior and the style and the vibe and the tones, the aesthetic from that world. It's like rock and roll world. And I don't want to say, I don't know that it's like, I don't know that it's appropriate to bring race into it. It's not necessarily like just a white dude thing.
No, yeah.
But it is interesting that like in gospel music, it's like a different thing.
100%.
Right? It's like an active thing.
5 or 6 string.
Yes, like MTD. Now you can still, it's wild though, because like I was talking to Goucher about this, Andrew Goucher, who played with Chaka Khan and Prince, and he still plays Fenders sometimes. But it's like, but for him, it's like old school. For him, that reference is not, the Fender reference is not Adam Clayton. His Fender reference is like Larry Graham, from Sly Stone, so it's like the representation. What are we listening to? What informs that music? And then what do we gravitate toward? I think, I don't know, like with seeing, like in talking to the gospel guys, it's like seeing or hearing like Chaka Khan records, Whitney records. That was like Ken Smith, that was like those kind of basses. I was really influenced by this guy, Hubert Eaves, who played on Erykah Badu's live record, and he was playing MTD. And, like if you come up in that world, it's just a different aesthetic.
Yeah.
And if you are, if you're showing up to that with like flats on a P bass, now here, this is wild. The person that gets to just transcend that, of course, is Pino Palladino. Like D'Angelo hires Pino to come in and play. But again, Pino comes in and plays kind of old school. And it's more kind of James Jamerson, right? Whereas the CCM church thing is like rock and roll Fender-shaped objects with a pick and drive. So that's why I think we're just modeling the aesthetic and the tones from the music that's informing the music, the people, the things we're seeing from the stuff that we're like, oh, that would work here. Right? Is that it?
Yeah, I think so. And, I've talked to some of the Bethel guys, and they said that, the reason that, all that overdrive and the microsynth and all that stuff came about was really from a need that they would sometimes only have one guitarist on a Sunday morning. And so they were like, okay, well, you're going to play bass, but you're going to basically be like a rhythm guitar.
Cool.
And so when the guitar is trying to do all these lead high notes with delay and reverb and all that, then somebody has to fill that sonic space. So cool. That's why they would kick on the overdrive and kind of fill that. And so it's really neat because that's what the guitarists have said, is that it really allowed freedom for them to not have to kick on the overdrive and, hit power chords or whatever. They could still hit those, big delays and reverbs and cool. all that. So it's just kind of neat how that came about.
There's something sick too about like overdriven bass and then guitar that isn't like metal.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you can have the dirtiest bass and it doesn't lock you into like a genre of metal, you know what I mean? Or like hard rock. You can have just the nastiest bass tones. And then what's happening in the high end with keys or with guitar really sort of determines, I think, like what the level of horns, whether it's just a little bit or a lot, you know? But it's really interesting. Yeah. Like bass can be so nasty and saturated and get away with a lot of that, where guitars are nice and clean and it doesn't read like, like corny new metal or something.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's sweet.
That's awesome. I wanted to ask too, kind of, cause we had kind of talked about Fenders there, but just if you could just share, briefly, like kind of how you got started and what made you choose bass guitar.
Oh, dude. Yeah. I mean, well, I've told the story, but yes, I'll tell you, I was bad at everything. I was like awkward and not talented at like I wasn't good at sports, and I was really tall really early. And, Jay, I don't know if have you heard my basketball story?
Yeah.
I'll tell you. Well, I'm going to tell it.
My audience maybe.
I'm going to tell it because, man, I was tall early. And so basketball, and I'm in, grew up in this little town in Montana, and so sports. Okay. And, I was listening to music, and I kind of grown my hair out, and, just thinking back, you guys, it's so freaking embarrassing. I painted my fingernails black, and I had like long hair, and I wore like
Bentoncourt, right?
Yeah, dude. I had like Motley Crue t-shirts and stuff, and I wore like a dog chain around my wrist, and these poor basketball coaches are just thinking like, what is this kid's deal? But I was also like 6'2" in the 7th grade, so I was the tall kid, and I was so bad at it. Anyway, my whole family's in town. They're in the stands, and I get that ball, and it's my moment, and the basket is here, and I'm like, hell yeah. And I take that shot, and I miss, almost goes in, but I get the rebound, and I'm like, yes, I get another shot, another chance. And the crowd is just roaring. And I take that second shot, and it just brick. And I'm like, and I get the rebound again. And it's sort of like easy to get it, which is weird. And it feels like I'm sort of floating in this dream. And the crowd is screaming at me. And I feel like they're like, take a third shot. I'm like, yeah. And I take a third shot, kind of like no one is there anymore. I'm like, is this a dream? And I miss a third time. And then a player from the other team just grabs the ball and lightly like lays it in and punches me on the shoulder and goes, thanks. And I realize, like, it dawns on me, wrong basket. Just 3 times missing at the wrong basket. And dude, I look up and my whole family is just like this. Like people that have traveled to, it's like it's a holiday weekend. So it's like aunts and uncles and they're all just like, and it was after that I said, I can't do this anymore to my mom. And she said, well, you can't just play video games. And I said, yeah, but that's all I want to do. And she was like, yeah, I know, but you can't. And I had a cousin, Arison Towner, shout out Arison, and an uncle, Roman Richardson, shout out Roman, both bass players. And I'd been around them and they were really cool, but I didn't think like, I'm going to do that too. But it was the thing that was like proximity to me. And I also had a friend that like already played the drums. And I thought, oh, maybe it felt like a little bit of a consolation prize though, you know, like I was like, God, it might be cooler to play the guitar or the drums. And I was like, oh, but I guess I'll just play the stupid bass, you know? And I was like, could I try the stupid bass? And my mom was like, yeah, we'll rent you a bass. You can try that. I'm like, fine. And I remember just not even really being excited, but then I got it. And immediately, two things. First of all, I figured out how to do this. I figured out how to just like literally snap the G string, like, and I was like, sick. Like that sounded kind of cool to me. I was like, damn. Like even like I'm just turning the bass off just through the like speaking mic. Like I was like, hell yeah. That sounded cool. And I was like, oh. Yeah. And I remember we even had some family friends over that had like some kids. They were like girls that I didn't know, but they were a little older than I was. And I remember I had my bass. And I remember like they were on the other side of the living room and I would just be like, and I just thought it was so cool. And I remember thinking they thought it was cool. I don't think they did think it was cool, by the way. But I remember thinking like, this is making me cool, you know? And whether it was or it wasn't, sometimes all you need is that placebo, you know? And then honestly, what really cemented it is I had a dear friend who became a dear friend, a guy that was 2 years older, Dave Young. I still make music with him. He was 15. I was 13. He was a great guitar player and he showed me stuff. And I just remember like playing with him and like playing low notes under him playing guitar. And then we got a drummer. And like, I just remember like feeling the power of the bass and like not playing for a minute and then playing and being like, oh, dang, this is maybe actually like the coolest instrument. Like it's kind of both. I'm kind of the guitar and I'm kind of the drums, you know, combo. Yeah. Like this is incredible. Like, and then I was like, I think I found it. And I remember, man, Dave Young, 15, says to me, hey, do you want to move to Minneapolis after you graduate from high school and be in a band with me and my brother? And I was like, I would love nothing more than to do that with you. And so and then he went home, you know, like we were in my basement rehearsing. 15, he like rides his bike home. And I came up the stairs, 13-year-old Ian, to my mother and said, I know what I'm going to do with my life. And she was like, what? And I was like, I'm going to move to Minneapolis after high school and be in a band with Dave. And she was like, okay. Like,
you did this to me.
Yeah. And guess what? That's what I did.
Yeah. That's
like I
awesome.
did that. Yeah. That's what we did.
The whole time she was probably thinking, he'll grow out
exactly.
of it. You know?
I mean, I was like my mom, shout out to Beth, man. My mom, Beth, is incredible. She was always very supportive of it, but I think she did sort of think that was maybe like a passing thing. Like sure. I wasn't probably going to follow through with that, but she was super supportive of all the stuff. She took me to all the, you know, shows and to see jazz festivals and, you know, got me a lesson with Brian Bromberg when I was a teenager. And like, just like, she was very supportive, but I can imagine her thinking, that's probably not going to happen. Like, you know, they'll have a fight or grow apart but we're still homies to this day, you know.
That's amazing.
Yeah, anyway, it's cool.
For some reason, I'm just picturing young Ian just walking around the house going, bang,
dude, that's it, man. I mean, I got so into this. Like, this has become this hunk of like wood and wire. It's like, it's become a comfort animal to me. Like I take them on vacation. It's so bad. It's probably pathological. It's probably not healthy. But I like the feeling of just like sitting with one. I mean, you'll notice I've had one in my lap the whole time we've been sitting here. Like whenever I watch a movie with my family, I've got a bass. I mean, it's like, it's bad.
I remember you talking about how you'll like, if like there's a soundtrack, you'll kind of have it like and noodle along with it and
try to do it quiet so that, you know, like it's not bothering anyone.
Yeah.
But I just like the language of this. It's like the simplicity, yet the endless mystery is like fascinating to me. How there's only a few notes and a few strings and a few places that we can, but like every melody, every bass line's a little different. Every time you touch the instrument, you can come up with something new. You have something different to say. You can make a different sound. You can express yourself in a different way. It's like fascinating to me. And it's, I don't know, like I just have never grown tired of it. I've never been bored with it. I've never been like I've never seen the bass and thought, oh, I don't want to pick that up today. Ever. Not one, right. There's never been a day that I've thought like, ugh, yuck, I could do without that today. Because I think early it like got its hooks in me of identity, you know. It's probably not healthy. It's probably sort of pathological. Like, you know, I've had friends be like, dude, if something happens and you can't play the bass, who are you? And I'm like, oh dear God, please. Oh, please. You know, like it's probably right. Like, it's probably not good. But yeah, there's something about like the mystery of music that is just like, it's endlessly fascinating to me. So I'm always just trying to hunt it down, you know?
Yeah, I love that. Who do you think, like, a couple of your, like, the people that like really influenced you, like in those earlier years? Who are some of those musicians, like bassists? I know you said Hubert Eaves was one.
Yeah, but that was later. I mean, in the beginning, if I'm honest, it was like I got really into hair bands. I loved,
dude.
I was really high five, dude, through the screen. Bam!
Like
I was way into
Skinny Bop.
Dude, yes. I saw Bobby Dahl with Poison playing on MTV. I mean, I was a huge MTV kid. Like my mom was not banned in the house. Like it was encouraged. I mean, so I was watching all those videos. I mean, right. I am a child of that world. So all that hair metal stuff I was really into. But then past that, I had, you know, I'd spoken to my Uncle Roman. When I turned 15 for Christmas, he got me a Bela Fleck record, so Victor Wooten, and a Dream Theater record. What? So John Mayung, right? Like, so, and I got really into Rush from my uncles as well. So I got kind of pushed into more muso space.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so early on, it was like rock music. I also really loved hip hop music. I loved like the Beastie Boys and like Paul's Boutique. And I don't know. I was just like, honestly, what MTV was serving me, right. I really enjoyed. But also, man, my parents took me to see jazz music. And I loved that. I got introduced to Brian Bromberg and some sort of like smooth jazz that, you know, because I feel like because of Corey Wong lately now you can talk about liking smooth jazz again. I feel like he's made it like cool to like again. Right. But I always kind of did, you know, Dave Koz. And so, yeah, I think, but it was like rock and roll. And then it took college. I had some very different, like friends with very different musical tastes in college. That was more like trip hop music, super heavy metal music,
right.
more indie hip hop music, R&B music in college that kind of busted me out of my kind of like rock dude world. I told the story. We just did a video on SBL going through Stefan Lessard's bass lines for Dave Matthews because I was amazing. A huge Dave Matthews Band fan.
Yes.
But there was a girl in college that said to me, I can't date you if you like the Dave Matthews Band. and do you know what I chose?
Dave Matthews Band.
Damn right. Damn right I did. I said, well, then we won't be dating. Yeah. Will we? Dave Matthews Band it is.
You're like, if you don't like Dave Matthews Band, then we got a problem. Yeah. Dude, I was the same way. Like I had a 4-string my whole life, and when he came along, Stefan Lessard, I was like, I need a 5-string now.
I need a Warwick Dolphin.
Yes, dude. Oh, when we made that video, I was on Reverb like a couple days before. Like, if there's a Dolphin, and if it isn't too crazy, and I can get it here in a few days, I'm buying it. But they're like prohibitively expensive now. Right. It was crazy. They're like $5-6 grand. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm not going to do that. Yeah. But man, just so cool. So cool. So yeah, I don't know. it was like the typical small town MTV kid, man. That was me, you know? And then it took more sort of worldly, I don't know, just me having more experiences to kind of get more music under my wings, you know?
I got a question. So you have like this whole Minneapolis thread through your career, like Corey Wong, Soul Asylum, Master Smith. How did that scene shape kind of your playing identity?
Yeah. Wow. That's a really great question. So I, you know, came up in Montana in this little rock band, and we moved to Minneapolis not knowing much about, like, Seattle was really popping off. But we sort of felt like we missed the boat there. Like that had kind of happened, and now it was late 90s, and Seattle really like exploded in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And now it was like 98, and Seattle was kind of had happened. And so we went to Minneapolis because that's where, you know, that's where we had family connections, and it's just where it felt safe for some Montana boys to go. It's what we felt like we knew. And we were kind of unaware of the Soul Asylum thing and the Prince thing. And we got sort of scooped up into this scene. There was like a hard rock scene in Minneapolis in the sort of early 2000s. There were bands like American Head Charge and a band called Skywind and a band called Sunset Black. And these bands are probably people won't have heard of them, but they were huge in Minneapolis in that time. I mean, selling out big clubs, like local hard rock bands. And we were kind of a hard rock band. It was in a band called Down and Above. And we sort of modeled ourselves after King's X. We had a 3-piece, big grindy bass tone. We sang harmonies. And we absolutely loved being a part of that scene. And we were like, we don't need, like, Prince, that's old stuff, man. We don't need that thing. Like Soul Asylum, that's early 90s. And I wish, to be honest, if I had it to do all over again, we were just like young and honestly kind of scared. And instead of being like, who are around us that can be gurus? Like, what historically do we need to know about Minneapolis? We were kind of like, we're doing our own thing. And we found a little scene that feels great. And who cares if it doesn't sound like the Jayhawks or like, you know, classic Minneapolis? Who cares? This is the new thing that's happening, you know? And I think in your 20s, you might need something like that. But then over time, of course, like if you live here, you then bump up against, and if you live here and you're playing music professionally in any capacity, you bump up against people that have been in Prince world, that have been in the kind of like 90s Soul Asylum, Jayhawks, Suburbs. There was all kinds of bands, Paul Westerberg. So I was just late to it, guys. Like, I was just kind of late. There's also some incredible hip hop in this town, Doomtree and Atmosphere. And I just was sort of late to all of it. And I wish that I would have been more open and more kind of like seeking, but I was young and a little bit terrified. And so I was sort of like blinders, just doing my own thing, you know, with my little band.
Yeah.
But it took me a long time to kind of go, oh, wow, this city is unbelievable. And I've had the fortune now to, you know, work with some amazing folks that were part of those scenes, you know, a good friend, you know, Corey Wong to, you know, he's a guy that came up through the sort of Prince, in the Prince camp. I don't think he ever actually played with Prince, but all of the Prince disciples and ex-bandmates and stuff, Corey was a part of all of that. And I got a chance to play with the guys in play in Soul Asylum for a little while as well too. So got to know that camp really well, but that wasn't until I was in my like mid 30s that stuff happened, because I was so tunnel visioned with my thing before that. But yeah, you cannot move around in this town musically without coming up against that. And I think that that's a good thing. Actually, it's amazing.
Yeah, it pushes you.
To this day, is it Black Gold is still one of my favorite songs.
Dude, I got to go out, man. I got to go out with Soul Asylum and cover for Winston Roy, who's their bass player for a long time, and he was a New York Broadway guy but he went out and he was in Soul Asylum for a long time, but he couldn't do all the touring because of the Broadway demands.
Wow.
So I got to go out with them and play. They did a tour where they were just playing Gravedancers Union from start to finish. Wow. Just that record. And Matthew Sweet was playing. The Wailers, Bob Marley's Wailers were playing. And who else was on that bill? It doesn't matter. But Soul Asylum was one of the bands, and we would go out and play Gravedancers Union, start to finish, Somebody to Shove at the top.
Oh my gosh.
Just unbelievable, man. I mean, and that was, you know, I tell a story of Perner being like, you have to put your bass lower. Like you're wearing your bass like super nerdy high. And so, you know, pretty soon, dude, I was rocking it, man. I had the bass down here and just like, it just was so sick. It was so fun. I mean, it's an amazing time. Yeah, it's great.
That's awesome. Well, speaking of bass, I wanted to kind of transition into some gear stuff for a minute.
Let's go. Let's do it.
So first of all, like, can you share some about Lull basses and about how awesome Spencer is?
Yeah. I mean, do you guys know Spencer?
Because I've bought a Lull through him before.
Okay.
And here's the big thing about it, and I don't think people know right now. Get a Lull while you can, because my thing is, like, the way he corresponds with you is just amazing.
I know.
Like, you get texts from him. Excuse me. Like updating you on the process. I mean, how many companies at that magnitude are you getting a direct text from like that?
Dude, you are right. I've told him to. I mean, he has now become a dear, dear friend. Like, when I go out there, I stay with his family. I stay in his house. They have a little guest room. You know, and I've got to see, you know, Alden start to grow up, you know, their little boy, and Maddie is amazing. And Spencer Lull is like a dear, dear friend. You're right. He won't be able to work in that capacity forever. Although he's making decisions in that company what I've seen him do is make decisions to hire somebody to do the door at Lull instead of him always being the guy to greet somebody to walk in, because they're a repair shop too. I mean, they do everything from like refretting, you know, early 50s telly to restringing a Squier from a Strat Pack. Like they do everything. And it's weird. Some people know really revere what they do and know what they are, and other people just found them on Google and brought in a guitar to get things on it. So it's this wild, like, everybody that walks in, it's something different, and Spencer has to navigate that. So what he's doing is he's hiring those positions out because he knows what he's good at. He knows he's good at interaction. He's incredible in the one-on-one interaction. He is incredible salesman. And I don't mean that in like a demeaning way.
Right.
He's so good at finding out what you want and what you need and delivering that thing to you.
Yeah.
And he is also, by the way, he's an incredible player. So, like, he's a beast guitar player. I mean, he's a good bass player, but he is a beast guitar player. And when I saw that dude play guitar, like, I've seen him draw crowds at NAMM. Like, he'll shred something at NAMM, and like people will like, what crazy artist guitar player is playing right now? People come and get their phones out and stuff. I mean, he's a freaking monster. So he's got great ears. He comes at it from a playing background. I mean, his dad is the guy.
Yeah.
And his dad would be so proud of him. He has grown this company in ways that I just don't think his dad could have, because, you know, Mike was from had a different ethic around the work and around social media. And Spencer knows how to leverage social media. I got on board. I mean, I knew about Lull before, but I didn't know Mike personally. I'd never played one of their basses. And to be honest, I wasn't that interested. It was like, it was another cool looking bass, but I was fine with the things I had. But Spencer, when he started to show up on Instagram and he started to like do the choose the color thing, and then he would play and he would talk, and I was like, who is this kid? this dude is who I like this guy. And then I was like, hey man. And he was like, hey man. And we just started to chat. And it grew out of that. He sent me a 5-string to check out and it was really cool, but I wasn't playing it a ton. And he was like, I want to build you a 4-string. And we started, I mean, that was honestly the beginning of that. Like when we started to talk 4-string this was the very first 4-string that he built for me, which was the very first IMA 4. And I mean, the amount of time that we took speccing this thing out and talking about what we wanted. And it's crazy because I love jazz bass, but I had a bicentennial bird, an old Gibson 76 Thunderbird that I loved, but didn't play because they're weird to play. And they're also, it's such an aesthetic statement, like to play a T-Bird. Yeah. It's kind of like, all right, dude. I mean, it's just like it's like a strong flavor. Yeah.
Oh, very much so.
But this was such a cool thing. And they'd been doing something similar, but not exactly the same. Not the same body, not the same neck, not the same headstock, not the same spacing and placement, not the same harness. So even though it looks similar to something that they'd built previously, it's kind of a different bridge, knobs, complete redesign, pots, tapers, like fingerboard, radius, like the whole thing was reimagined. And I could not be like, in the beginning I was like, oh, I don't know what this is going to be. I think it'll be cool. And I got the bass and I was like, whoa, like I couldn't believe how much I liked it. But like anything, you can't be like, this is my favorite thing in the world because it's just new. Sure. But the more I played it and then I had it out on the road and then I'm recording with it. And then pretty soon, like I picked up a Fender and had to like wipe like a thick layer of dust off of it. And I'm like, what is happening? So
that's great.
Yeah, man. And we're coming up to batch 10 of the IMA basses, which is crazy. I've got them all right here, it's so funny. And we just have an amazing thing going and I can't believe it. I mean, I'm just as surprised as anybody. I love designing them with Spencer though. I mean, the amount of time we spend going back and forth and sending messages to each other. And I mean, we're on the phone. Sometimes we talk for like 3 hours. My wife is like, is that your mistress? And I'm like, kinda. It's crazy. That's awesome. And I know that it's the good old days. I feel it because this dude's in his 30s and they're going to have more kids and it's going to get more complex. Yeah. I just tell him a lot. I try to tell him a lot. Thank you. Because you are the capacity that you have for me right now, Spencer Lull, you're not always going to have the capacity for me that you have right now.
Right.
And he's like, what are you kidding me? Oh, yeah. I know how this goes, dude. And we're in the good old days. And so I'm just trying to really be appreciative of what it is right now. They're not always going to sell out in minutes. I know that. So we're in the Goldilocks honeymoon zone right now, right. But we're still trying to make things that are interesting and things that people really want to play. And we still have ideas and we're still excited about it and into it. So we'll do it as long as we feel excited and as long as people want them. So,
yeah. I've even just gotten a random text from him just saying, hey man, just letting you know, I was thinking about you, just wanted to see how you're doing. And that, I mean, just meant the world to me, obviously, cause there were plenty of times where like during the whole building process, like he'd be like, hey, when can you hop on the phone? I was like, yeah, as soon as I go to leave work, and we'd be on the phone for my entire drive home.
Yeah, that dude can talk. He can talk.
He's just great, and I loved
it's
it.
Amazing.
I was like, this is so cool.
and if he gets on the phone with another talker, because I can talk too. Oh man, I mean, it is on. We can just sail off into the sunset. Yeah,
that's amazing. Can you share? I know you talked a little bit, and a lot of people, unless they're somehow living under a rock and don't know this, but SBL, talk how that came about for you, like how you got on board.
Oh man, I love telling this story. Yeah. So I was a fan, I mean, I consumed all of the content. I don't think I was ever actually a member. Like I considered it. I think I took the trial, but I was never, I'd love to be able to say, man, I was like a paying member, but I don't think I ever actually was a recurring member, but I was a fan. I loved what Scott did. And in 2018, I turned 40. And when I turned 40, I had kind of a midlife crisis around, I'd been a sideman for a long time, about a decade. And I was like, I want something. Now my next 40, I want to have something that I can control. And so that meant for me, I wanted it to be a broadcast channel. And I'd been listening to this guy, Chase Reeves, I mentioned before. And I was like, I'm going to start a channel. And I was like, YouTube seems so daunting. I'm going to do a more bite-sized thing. I'm going to do Instagram. So I started an Instagram. And so thank God, man. I mean, 2 years before the pandemic, I went for it and I went hard. So in 2018, I was posting a ton, and I decided that the things I was doing and the artists that I was playing with before, I was like, is anyone going to find this interesting? And then I was using all these sounds and doing all this stuff. And I thought, man, I think this is interesting. I'm going to plant the flag. I'm just going to, and I'm going to talk about it. And I'm tired of pretending or tired of being like, well, I'm not sure and I'm going to be humble. No, I'm going to say, this is what I'm doing and I think it's cool. And it's not going to be like, this is what you should do. I'm just going to say, this is how I'm doing it. Just perspective. And Scott started to pay attention to that. I would occasionally tag them. I'd tag him. This was back when he was doing Instagram himself mostly. I think actually only. He didn't have anyone on a social media team. And I would tag him if I was talking about, a scale or something, or I would be, doing something educational, because I was a teacher as well. I'd say, you can take it from me, but also a guy that really has great resources is Scott Devine. Now, was I trying to get his attention? Of course.
Sure.
Right. And he started to pay attention. And then there was a great moment where I'd been doing this. I'd been tearing apart the floors in my studio. And I took a week off of posting. Like, the project was done and I just hadn't posted in a while. And Scott went on SBL channel and said, my favorite new Instagrammer is gone. And I'm afraid that he's stopped posting. And Scott in retrospect is like, yeah, there was some like, I'll quit Instagram thing that was happening. And I thought you'd fallen prey to it.
Oh no.
So he's like, so everybody's got to go follow this guy right here, Ian Martin Allison. He put the at. He's like, go follow him and tell him he can't leave. He has to keep posting. And I literally woke up and my phone had like melted into my dresser, like from all the notifications. Like, it's something like tripled my follower count at the time.
Wow.
And so from that, it was small things. From that, I was like, hey, I shot my shot. I said, I'm good at XYZ. Put me in, coach. And he was like, well, what if you try X? What if you do a live stream? And I did it and it went great. He was like, what if you wanted to do, and then he sent me an email that was like, would you want to make a course and talk all about all the sideman stuff that you do in Minneapolis? You can talk about all the stuff you do, all the sounds you make. You can make it all about that, all about being like the modern sideman. And we're going to pay you this much money. And you can, and I got that email and I like read it. And I was in my car and I like pulled over and like read the email and I cried. I literally like cried freaking tears of joy. I mean, I just like, what an amazing thing. And it has led to, and after that, we really got along and he was like, you want to do a podcast? And if you've listened to the episodes, we got to know each other in that podcast.
Yeah.
We became like best friends in that podcast, talk about going to therapy and kids and we cry and jeez. So
and it's great. Every minute of it is great. I highly recommend.
But yeah, it honestly came, the answer Like you could say like, oh, the strategy involved, but really the nutshell, or like I think the nugget to take away is like, people ask me all the time, how do I do this? Or how do you break into this? I get asked that all the time. And the best thing you could possibly do is start talking about or doing the thing that you actually like to do, and the thing that you actually like to do. Not the thing that you think your friends or your family or your or your high school buddies or your college, the frat, or the thing that you actually like, and talk about it and post about it and be unashamed about it, because that's the thing that is resonant with you. That's what will find you an audience. And if you talk about that and you give value to the people that consume that, so instead, like I could just come on and just play 6 slap licks and that's it. But maybe then talk about that, break it down. What do you use for that? What kind of strings? What's the action? What's the nerdiest thing? Why a right angle cable on a front loaded, the smallest value thing that might feel a little corny or a little nerdy, but that someone that I want to consume. I want to hear Sean Hurley talk about that. I want Joe Dart to tell me when he has to use a backline amp, what he does, or if he cares about it, or like, I want to know the behind the scenes of all that stuff. So I started just to make that about me, in hopes that somebody would care, and that's just how Scott started to notice.
Yeah, I remember you talking about how you were like, you know what, there were some things that weren't out there. And what I tried to do was be like, okay, what would I want to consume?
Yes.
And so you were like, I would love to hear some of these musicians out there break down kind of their bass lines of what they did and what they did on these recordings and why they chose to do what they did. And then you were like, well, why don't I just do that? So
and there is a thing that you have to get over of like, well, I'm not X. I'm not whoever your hero is.
Right.
So who's going to care about me? But honestly, like, people just want to connect with you it's like a parallel universe. If you get to hear somebody that's doing it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm doing this at a professional level. I'm making money. There's all of these records all over Spotify that I've played on. Like, I should talk about this, Right. And I'm doing it in a weird town. I'm doing it not in Nashville. So it's not all bro country music.
Right.
It's not all worship music. It's not all film scores. It's not all pop music in Los Angeles. It's weird. It's some hip hop and some singer songwriter and I was like, that's interesting. If there was a guy out there that was talking about that, I would check him out, And honestly, if Hurley had a podcast, if Sean Hurley had a podcast and he took me through a day, what does he eat for breakfast? I want to know. Does he have a coffee? He gets into his car. What's he drive? I'd love. And he goes to that studio. What's the studio? Is he going to somebody's house? What's the breakdown of like? Is he doing home sessions? Is he doing studio stuff? What instruments is he bringing? Is he mostly playing flats? Is there a trend now? Is he playing maybe more jazz bass now? Dude, I want it all. And if I want it, like, there's probably somebody else that does too,
Exactly.
So, and Sean's not giving it to me. So, so I might as well, I may as well talk about it. So, and Sean, if you ever somehow see this, you should do that. He's so busy, but we want it. And I would say, I would actually extend that out to anybody that feels like they have a story to tell. If you don't want to tell your story, that's okay. You don't have to. But if you're out there and you're going, gosh, like, anybody listening to this is like, I want to tell my story, but I don't know if I have earned the right to. You don't have to earn the right to. Your life is interesting. Everybody's life is intrinsically interesting because we're all going through it, concurrently. And it's like, it's why reality TV is so fascinating. People are like, what's somebody else's life like?
Right.
So I tell my friends this all the time. Making content is a gift. It's a gift to the world. I am so tired of people saying, oh, it's so selfish, or, oh, it's ruining things. It's like, well, sure, if you're doing it wrong.
Right.
But what if you're talking about it in a way that gives an angle, that gives something of value to the end user, right? Like, what if you show your pack? What if you talk about the way you string up an instrument? It's small, but it's valuable.
Right.
And if I see it from somebody, I'm like, I mean, John Button did that thing where he put those like 1/4-inch, like plugs into, do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. In the back of the HX Stomp.
Okay. This was such a potentially like a throwaway piece of content, but there are, there's all these holes in pedals that we don't use, right? And he had these like sheet metal plugs that are 1/4-inch that, like, if you put them in the holes, you never misplug ever. And there, Eric Hutchinson, love him to death, but he always had this tuner that he or I or a stagehand would plug into the wrong input, and then it wasn't muting, or it was the output actually. And I was like, damn it. I mean, okay, you could just gaff tape it, but then that's wonky. And one of these little things, and then you never ever plug into that again. And that's a valuable thing. That's incredible. And the world is so heavy. It's so heavy. And so a fun little tip like that from the Who's bass player.
Right.
Are you kidding me? Like, what a gift. He's so cool.
Amazing.
And for him to, like, sort of lower himself to give a tip that kind of small and insignificant. I really admire people that speak really simply about those types of things and don't think that that's just dumb, or that that's like beneath, like, oh, that's stupid, I'd never talk about that. Well, no, this is actually like a very practical thing. And someone's thought about this, and I want to know,
I think the people at Diodario were paying attention too, because I don't know if you've seen, they started selling them.
Of course they did.
In a little pack.
Bro, of course, little branded plugs. Damn it, of course they did. Yeah, I know. Button and I were like, dude, we should do it. We should do like a little branded thing. I was like, no, you should do it. Because it was your idea. You should do it. He's like, oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, of course you did.
But Button needs to get in touch with Fender's attorneys. Like, they can write a nasty letter.
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, you brought up the cease and desist.
Yeah.
Whoa. How long is the podcast, boys? Let's go.
Right. No kidding. Yeah. Well, next, I wanted you to talk about why this pedal.
Wow. Look at that. Man, it's so fun. I have that exact same pedal board right in front of me, right here.
Nice.
Stomp mantle. Doesn't it fit? Aren't those two pedals just meant to go together? So nice.
It fits perfectly. And it's not like it's at the very, very edge either. It's like, it's just like they're made perfectly.
Yes. I love it.
So, yeah, I love using that. So I have a setting or some presets that are kind of like what my pedal board is, the tone hammer, all that kind of stuff in there. And so on like Wednesdays when I'm serving and I just want to easy walk in and walk out kind of thing, I've got the little mono tick. I just throw it in there and I can just walk in with my bass and it all one go, and
awesome.
And I'm good. So
it's so fun.
Can you talk about that, kind of the behind the why of the mantle?
The mantle specifically. Yes. Oh man. Yes. So I love DIs. I mean, I love the idea of like getting a thing that is always going to be consistent and sound great. And there's this weird thing in me, and I think probably in bass players in general, of like, we're going to spend all this money on a thing that's going to give us maybe like a 5% increase. in tone. Like in a blind shootout, are you really are you really hearing the difference between a Countryman and the Mantle flat? Like I don't actually even want to take that taste test. Sometimes, like, man, have you ever, if you go on and you check out, like, Tony Levin did one, Yannick Wisdala did one, and like, where you're like, have you ever had that realization where you're like sipping your beverage? It's like, night before you go to bed, you're like, oh, I'm going to dig into this DI shootout. And then you're like, wait a minute. All DIs sound the same.
Yes.
Oh God. Oh no.
No.
Yeah. So to me, I do sort of think Sean Hurley and I actually, so I was just talking to Sean Hurley because we were talking about the Fender thing on the phone the other day. And we were talking about how all DIs kind of sound the same, and we were laughing about that. But we were saying that, he's like, if I sound like me through a DI, I think that it's a good DI. And I was like, well, I bet that's through almost every DI. He's like, yeah, it kind of is. And we're laughing. And I've tried so many, and so many are great. And you're wearing the Noble shirt, Jay. And I love Noble. And I was in early. And I mean, I think Sean and I did videos with Jack, like early on.
That was the reason why I got one in 2015 is when I got
good.
mine.
I still have mine back here too. Look at this. Yeah. So, I love this thing, and like I have mine is number 33, which is crazy. It's before they went to the different texture on the front. I put different knobs on mine too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like whenever I use a DI for a long time, I start to go, I wish it, and then there's a fill in the blank. And I'd use the Noble for a while. And for the Noble for me, there were some tubes that went microphonic on the road at kind of a critical time. And I was like, ooh. And I've had some kind of like ugly experiences with tubes on the road in amps and in preamps that's given me pause. And on big gigs, outdoor gigs, I've had a tube die at like a critical moment. And when I went out with Rector, I remember thinking, I don't want to rely on a tube DI, actually, because there was going to be some festival stuff, outside stuff, summertime in the South, like hot sunlight. I don't know. I just had some experiences. Exactly. And it's nothing to do with the manufacturers of the products.
Sure.
It's not to do with this. It's to do with the fact that it's tubes.
Sure.
So that was one thing. The second thing was that I've gotten really used to the sound of a Neve 1073 in my studio. And I also wanted a different EQ functionality in the way an EQ worked. So I had this idea, and I actually brought it to a couple of different companies. And Walrus was one of them. And they said, we would love to build this. And I was so excited. Throughout my recording stuff too, I'd had some really great experiences plugging into two different pre's, 1073 and an API 312 or 512. Those preamps, whenever I would get plugged into those in the studio, I would go, what is that? Like if it wasn't in my, because I know what I'm plugging into at home, which is an AMS Neve. But somewhere else, whenever I'd say like, what is that? It was always either a 1073 variant or an API. And so I asked the engineers, can we do like 1073 input transformer, API output transformer? And they paired me up with this incredible like engineer that worked at Walrus. He's not there anymore, which is so sad, but Mantle was his last project.
Wow.
And he was like, yes. And so they built, they built transformers from the ground up. It was really honestly, in retrospect, I can't believe they said yes to it. Because you have these ideas, and you think this would be sick, right? But like every single little component and every knob and every, like all that stuff, it costs money. And then to scale it, it's brutal. And for them to say yes to that and step into kind of a high level of like pro audio price and do it with me and it's like a bass specific thing. So now that's cutting out all of your guitar player market.
Right.
That's a freaking risk.
Yeah.
And they were like, hell yeah. And I was like, wow, amazing. And I didn't get how risky it was actually at the outset, but that's probably why there were a couple other companies that were like, no. So, keeping features out of it. So the 3 design principles for me, which I thought that I came up with, and then I said it on some podcast, and then someone was like, "You're an asshole. This is like the principles of architecture." Basically, like I want it to be simple and beautiful and useful. Like that's the 3 design principles for me on everything that I help design. It needs to be simple, easy to understand, right? Like it needs to be simple. You need to see it and get it immediately. Like, oh, or like, yes, simple. I understand, or at least I think I get it. It needs to be useful, meaning like it needs to sound great. It needs to do the thing that it says it's going to do. And it needs to be beautiful. It needs to be like aesthetically, like the aesthetic needs to be on point.
Josh is so agreeing on that.
Yes.
Yeah. It can't be ugly.
No.
If it's ugly, it sounds bad.
It's true. and dude, there are so many products out there that I won't touch because they're ugly.
Yeah.
And and maybe that's me being shallow or vain or whatever, but no way. And I know that everybody's got different taste and whatever.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes engineers or like product features can sort of lead the way in product dev. Like, oh, we're going to make this thing and it's going to have a lot of cool stuff in it. And then that then makes it ugly in a way, or like the features lead the way. Right. And I was like, feature creep is real. We don't want to have it do too much stuff. It needs to be simple, beautiful, useful. So, keeping the mantle to 3 knobs, input, output, XLR, 2 switches. I cannot tell you how difficult that was because shouldn't it have both cut and boost on a stacked knob? Shouldn't it have gain and volume? So you can shouldn't it have stereo? Shouldn't it? I mean, bro, like for me I had to fight to keep things. I mean, honestly too, it was going to have an on-off switch or like a pedal. And I was like, no, because your Neve, like you're not ever bypassing in the studio your Neve preamp.
Right.
You plug into that and that's what you're going through.
Yeah.
So I want it to just not ever go away. And they were like, whoa, that was a really hard one for Waltons. They were like, oh, even a rocker switch. I'm like, a rocker switch?
What?
That's going to be so dumb. It's going to look dumb. Where are you going to put the rocker switch? Oh, it's going to be on the side and then on a pedal board. Now it's going to be hard to get to, or a pedal's going to turn it off. Oh, I mean, dude, like it's so...
They're not ready for no knobs.
Like Joe Dart.
Like Joe
Dart. Man. I know, man. I've got that bass right here. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, and honestly too, like I can apply the same thing. I've got it right up there, but the MXR synth bass too, designing that thing with MXR was a dream and a nightmare. And I'd say that if those guys were all on this call, it was really awesome. And it was such a learning experience, and it was really difficult because to try to satisfy what I wanted it to be for bass players and what the engineers wanted it to be from an engineering, because it could do so much more.
Yeah.
Like the software in that thing, it could do more, and you could pack it with more secondary, tertiary, third features. Like you hold both buttons and turn a knob, and now it's doing something else. And I was like, please guys, please. So I have become, as a product guy, I've become the guy to say, keep it out, keep it out, keep it out, keep it out. I want it to be as simple and beautiful and useful as possible.
I appreciate that.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
You're
you.
like,
Dude.
One irrelevant guy in Cleveland, Tennessee appreciates me.
Not irrelevant. Well, I appreciate it. Well, I mean, I'm just trying to design stuff that I want to use but also not just for me, not just like, well, I have a weird use case, so it's just for me. It's like, I want to use it, and I'm also going to be proud to say this exists now, and I'm going to stand behind it. You know? So, and all the things that I've done, from, you know, the bass to the mantle to the MXR to the strings, I feel proud. Like, I want bass players to check them out. And that's a good barometer for me of like how I'm feeling about the project. And I've been approached by a lot of companies to work on stuff, and I say no more than I say yes, because I want to be, if I'm not excited about it, there's no way. I can't do it.
You're not going to fake the excitedness at all.
No. And it's so much work. I mean, truly, it's so much work, and it's not like we're just making it's not this.
Right.
It is not.
Yeah.
So
the
it's
amount of time that you're putting in and not getting paid for that time, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and it's not like it's nothing. I mean, there is compensation, but it's like, for me to say yes to everything, and I can't do it. So I have to be pumped, and it has to be great. And there's even been some companies, and I won't name it, but there've been companies where I've gone down a road with, and then they say, here's what we're going to do. And I say, I can't support this for these reasons. And then they say, whoa, hold on. What do you mean? It's going to be great. And I say, well, this might be great for you. And like, you could put it out, but I will not. Like, I can't use it. Like, I won't feel good using it. It won't be on my pedal board. Then what are we doing? You know? So you could put my name on it, and you could pay me to do a video, but then, like, what are we doing? Like, so
it shows, though, you're consistent, because that's how I've heard you talk about, like, musically, like, when somebody's asked you to be, you know, in a project, and you've been like, well, and they're like, well, the money's only this, but like, you're like, if I am excited about it, then I'm all in, you know. And I would, you know, and so it's the same thing for this stuff, like stuff that you're excited about, you're, you know, then you're in on it. So
it's probably not like the best way to like live your life financially. I don't know. Or maybe it is. But I heard Justin Meldal-Johnson say this, you know, great bass player, you know, Beck and Nine Inch Nails, and, you know, but he said with sessions, he's like, my number one thing, he's like, if it's cool, I do it. And he's like, and I know that sounds kind of like shallow or simple or whatever, but it's that feeling, that welling feeling you get if you get asked to do something, you know, your gut tells you. You know, if your wife pitches you a family vacation idea and it sounds awesome, your gut tells you immediately. If it doesn't sound awesome, your gut tells you immediately. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. Like when a company is like, hey, do you want to do this? and you're pumped. Like paying attention to that is everything. So for instance, guys, the other day, I mean, Joe Dart, like literally hit me on Instagram and was like, dude, can I send you the only one of these that exists right now? And would you be willing to just check it out and let me know what you think, and like maybe do a little post about it or something? And I was like, I'm not going to talk to you about money. I'm not going to talk to you about like the fact that you asked me, like there's one of them.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. So I said yes. And then I made that. Did you guys see that goofy video I made with my kids and stuff?
That was fantastic.
Man,
I joked
it was
about
so
how
fun.
I loved the fake drop thing there.
Dude, where it's like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, the fake drop. I just couldn't, I couldn't not do that. That was actually the first take of that too. But then I tried like 10 more times to get it. And I kept the first one because it was the one that felt the most like real.
Yeah.
The other ones I was like, oh geez, like it was cheesier, you know? But Joe, you know, like this is a thing. I don't care what happens as a result of that. Like, I don't care if Sterling, you know, sends me basses or money, or that it leads to, I knew when Joe Dart was like, dude, would you do something? And he wasn't like, will you make an elaborate reel with your family? But then when I sent it to him the day before we posted it, I was like, what do you think? And he was blown away. I mean, he was like, dude, I had no idea that you were going to do this. That's thank
awesome.
you. And like, you made it so fun, and your kids are amazing. And, you know, like, dude, so I just, that's how I want to live. If I can, is to say yes to the things that are exciting. And this was exciting to me, you know? And there's like brands that reach out that I can tell that they just want access to SBL. That's a thing. Brands, Scott could care less about any gear companies that reach out to him. He never answers any emails. People try to get a hold of them, and then they know that I answer emails, and so they'll reach out to me, and then I know, I'm like, oh, they just want access to SBL, you know, and then there's that vibe too. So I'm pretty good at sniffing that out. But Dart was like, you know, would you just do something on your Instagram? And I was like, oh man, cool. Yeah, I will.
And you know what's cool about it is that you found a way to incorporate your family, and so you got some family time, you know, doing your...
I'm like, we got to make this post, you guys. Yeah. We're not going to the park.
And I'm going to give each of you your own Joe Dart bass. Everybody wins.
They were great, though. It was so good.
Oh, they're so cool, man. And my daughter loves... She's in like theater at school, and she's in music, and my son, you know, he's still figuring out what he's into. But like, dude, it was his idea to make, I don't know if you caught it, but he made like a fake cigarette out of it. He made it out of like a marker. He's like, can I do like a marker wrapped in paper? Because I was like, you're like a sound guy from the 70s. We're going to do a headband on you and glasses. He's like, did they smoke? I'm like, they definitely smoked. He's like, can I have like a cigarette? And I'm like, no. He's like, can I make like a fake one? I'm like, I guess so. But I mean, they were all like into it, and it was really funny.
That's awesome.
So yeah, we had a great time. And yeah, so anyway, all that to say, like, if I get excited about the opportunity, I say yes, regardless of the money, like regardless of, now, you know, with a big product like the MXR thing, now I'm negotiating, and because I know it's going to take up a lot of my time and energy. But with something like this, I'm just like, Joe Dart, yes, period. And then I just know that that's going to lead to something cool down the road. It just is. I just believe that in my heart, you know, that it will, there's going to be something. We're going to jam. We're going to both be playing at Corey Wong's Syncopated Summer Camp. Like, I'm one of the bass instructors there. We're going to hang. This is now a nice point of connection with Joe, whom I love. I love his playing. And I think he's a modern bass legend. Like, I think he's like a living legend. So, you know, I was honored, and I'll always say yes to stuff like that, you know.
That's awesome. Well, I don't want to take up too much. Are you still good on time here?
Yeah, or? I can do another, I got another 10 minutes.
Okay, cool. Well, I wanted to, we go into have a rapid fire section here.
Let's go.
We do but before that, I really wanted you to get to share real quick the new jazz bass from Lull, if you have it nearby.
I do.
To
yes. Oh, wow. Man, you're deep, Jay. I like it. So it's right here. And so this is the IMA4J. It's a new model for us. And I mean, yes, it's a jazz bass, but it's like, it's sneaky. I have always felt like I've wanted these like small tweaks to a jazz bass recipe. So what we did with this bass is we did custom wound pickups. So it's a super slight overwind in the bridge and a super slight underwind in the neck. And you have to be really careful about that, because if you go too far in either direction, then they don't hum cancel in the middle. So you have to hit tolerances right. And what happens is you get this just nice belly neck pickup vibe. and then a more sort of stout bridge pickup thing. Let me see if I can just fire it up for you. And it is just incredible. Well, I mean, I think it's incredible. So,
oh my God,
both pickups.
Gosh.
Sounds like a jazz, but the neck pickup.
Wow.
The neck pickup to me, it's always what I've wanted a jazz bass neck pickup to sound like. It's really clear and melly, and with a pig. It's just awesome and clear. It's not too woofy. I love it. And then the bridge, I've always felt like bridge pickup jazz bass is almost useless to me. Like it's too thin.
Sure.
But this one,
gosh, yeah.
It's more sort of stout. And then also we did, these are 250K, but they're linear taper pots, which I had mistakenly put on an old jazz bass of mine, and they actually blend. So like, you know, on a jazz bass where if you turn one knob a tiny bit, it's almost like a switch. It just snaps to the next pickup. There's almost no blendability with a two volume situation. At least I've found that to be the case. That's because of audio taper pots. And that just became the standard thing. There's really no rhyme or reason for that. But linear tapers do a different thing. So linear tapers. And then this I love this. We did so what are the three cap values? This is so nerdy, but this is how granular we got. Well, there's 0.022, there's 0.047, and there's 0.1 cap value for tone controls. And I have always felt like 0.022 is kind of does this. It's just not enough. 0.047 is the standard, and it kind of does this. But there's kind of like a honk. There's like a peaky honk to it that I don't love. And then a 0.1 is it's super dark and rolls a ton of volume off. And I've always wondered, is there something in between 0.047 and 0.1? And yes, there is, but no one uses it. So this is a 0.068. And it is awesome. So what happens with the tone control is as you roll, when it goes fully dark, it's just nice and dark, but it doesn't do that kind of like squawky thing. So like neck pickup, full tone off. It's just big and chocolatey and amazing.
Yeah.
But the volume doesn't. So this is like what a 0.1 does on an old P bass, but without the volume drop.
Interesting.
And it is the best tone value, I think. Now, some people like the mid-range squawk, but I don't. And then lastly is we put a sneaky series parallel on it. So what that does is it wires both pickups now in series, gives you a volume bump, high end drops down a little bit, mid range comes up.
Jay's like ordering it right now. He's like, "Hey,
I mean,
Spencer."
you know, and then of course we did the cover, and these are all the heirloom finishes.
I know the heirloom.
Yeah, we did bees. This is my favorite bridge of all time.
Yeah, I love that.
But really, like this and the electronics, we did the standard IMA neck, but really experimenting with pots, tapers, tone cap, series parallel. This thing here has been this sort of like oddly unquestioned world in jazz bass for so long.
Sure.
Everybody just does everybody's just like, yeah, we always just do this thing. And I was like, but
what if?
And so I was the guy, like I researched the tone caps and found them. And I was like, you guys, it exists, and they're like, wow. So, man, I mean, yeah, it's so rad. These sold, they didn't even put them on the site because they were really expensive because they did them in heirlooms. And so they just did an allocation with them. They just offered them to lull buyers that were that were like the sort of like the power buyers, the people that
Nice.
have a bunch of lulls, and they just were like gone. So I think we're going to do them in poly and offer them for a more reasonable price.
Sure.
And see if, and maybe do a run of them. But yeah, that's
Nice.
the 4J. I think it's like,
That's awesome.
it's like the best jazz bass that I've ever, but I mean, it sounds so salesy, but it's true because it's the things that I've wanted to exist
Right.
about a jazz bass, you know?
Well, and I remember back in your earlier years how the 2 jazz basses were those were your bread and butter,
I know.
all
Yeah.
the time.
Yep.
So like, and that's what you would always gravitate to.
I know.
So when you came up with that, I was like, oh, well, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
that you
man.
would-
It's pretty funny though, because I've gotten really used to the birds.
right.
And so then to go back to this, I'm like, oh, wow. I took this out on the road and there were things that I liked it for better. And there were things that I really missed the T-birds for. So it's not, I was like, Spencer, I had this
Right.
existential crisis. I'm like, do I have to choose? And Spencer was like, you don't. How nice is that? You can play them both.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Which, by the way, I love the Tame Impala, video
cool.
that y'all did with that, and you played that bass.
I did.
Didn't you on
Yep.
that? Yeah, it sounded amazing.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
So that
I
was
love
a-
this bass.
And I hope that there's more videos like that to come with you and Sharon, because that was fantastic.
Oh yeah, we do a bunch of stuff that way. So there's some with
Yeah.
me and Scott, but then a bunch of the artist videos Sharon and I do together.
Yeah, that was so cool, just the different perspectives between the two of y'all's, basses and how you arrived at your
Oh, yeah.
tones and everything. That was great.
We have a blast.
Well, coming in for a landing here, we'll do our rapid fire.
Okay, sweet. Sounds good.
And some of these I probably know the answers to, but I'm still going to let you answer them.
Let's go. Fun.
First is your favorite, flats or rounds?
Oh no! I mean, can I say super polished? Can I say the in
Yes,
between?
you
Hey.
can. I
That's
love
what-
super polish. It's the best.
Yes, good. I mean, technically it is a round, but it is polished and it is sort of like worn down a bit, so it leans a little closer to flat. But I mean, I guess if I had to just choose forever one string and it was only flats or rounds, I would do rounds because they're just a more versatile string.
Yeah.
But man, flats, like on the right
I
bass,
know.
the right tune, it's like,
Yes.
sorry.
Yes.
I know this is supposed to be rapid fire.
Oh no, I always love little extras in there
Okay,
with that. So this is the one that I was like, well, I kind of know this answer, but I'll say it anyway. P bass or jazz bass?
Jazz bass forever, 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 forever. Get that P bass out of my
Yes.
life.
Desert Island pedal.
Desert Island pedal would be, I mean, it would be silly to say HX Stomp. I mean, that's a multi, but like my favorite just singular effect would be octave. There's just something
Yeah.
about like turning on an octave pedal, and just being able to instantly go into that zone.
Yes.
It's like mean and synthy, and just immediately you get like
Yes.
you're transported into that territory, and I love that. So yeah,
Was that one on your HX?
yeah,
stomp?
that's just HX.
Okay.
That's just the bass octaver. That's literally
I
just that EBS version on there.
I
Yeah.
love that one.
Me too.
I just have the HX1 on my
Yep.
board just for space wise, but I love being able to just use those kind of the octaver. Oh, there
That's
you
the
go.
one right there.
Yeah, look at that board, dude. What a beautiful board. Dang,
Andy
bro.
wired it up himself.
Yeah.
Bro, that is beautiful.
I've only got one bass, but I splurged on the board.
Wow, that is a gorgeous board, man. Wow. Nice stuff on there.
But yeah, so that and then the 70s chorus on there is my hands down my favorite.
The best.
Chorus.
Yep.
It's so good. Favorite bassist.
Favorite bassist. My a bassist that just sprang to mind to me, and I always come back to her, is Michelle Indegio Cello. She is the funkiest. She is the most soulful. She has written some of the coolest bass lines that I always come back to. Her first 3 records are some of my favorite records of all time. She was playing in a way and with a sound and a thing that was kind of against the grain. in R&B. I cannot have more respect for her than I do. I love her bass playing. Her, or like maybe Tony Levin. I love Tony's playing too. But
Nice.
Michelle, I've probably like poured over a lot of Tony too. But Michelle was the first person I thought of, actually. So I'm going to stay there.
Yeah. Awesome. What's your favorite coffee of choice?
Oh, my favorite coffee. Okay. We always buy coffee in bulk from a Minneapolis company called Peace Coffee.
Okay.
And they do, in the summertime, they do this a thing called the pollinator blend. And it is like a light roast. It is so, dude, I'm salivating right now thinking about it. We just got a bag of it. We brewed it up this morning. Man, I mean, I've got a cold cup of it right here that I've been sipping on, but it's just delicious. So
Amazing.
Good. Peace Coffee, pollinator, seasonal. I look forward to it every year. Yep.
That's awesome. I always bring that up because that's part of the,
I know it is, man. I love it. I love it.
But kind of the just 30-second thing here, part of the reason behind that is because I like to use that as an encouragement for people to take somebody out for coffee, to get to know people like on the worship team, and just, use that as an opportunity for community,
That's a good call.
And so I'm like, a cup of coffee is the perfect way
vehicle.
to do it. So
yeah, good call.
Yes, exactly. And as musicians, we need it. So
yeah, it's true. It's so true.
What about favorite coffee shop?
There is a coffee shop in Eden Prairie, Minnesota right now called Fragment. There's a few of them in the Twin Cities. I was hip to it from a friend. And what they do is they actually take over like the lobby of a business, imagine like a big business warehouse that has like a bunch of different offices in it, and the lobby that you walk into could be lame, and in fact typically they are so lame. And this coffee company called Fragment takes those over and makes those spaces really cool. So the coffee shop, there's like a desk in the place that you order, but the entire huge lobby floor of like these big spaces is the coffee shop. And so
Nice.
And they have cool seating, and they're just popping. I feel like everybody knows about them now. In the beginning, it was like kind of this like amazing secret, and you could go and get work done, and it was amazing.
Nice.
And now everybody's there. But Fragment's great.
Nice.
That's the first one that came to mind. Yeah.
Awesome. And then lastly, what's some music right now that you're currently listening to? Like if you hop in the Jeep and you're going for a drive, like what's your like what are you putting on?
I sold the Jeep because it got the death wobble. You ever see that where a Wrangler of the axle it almost killed my family. I sold that car so fast because we couldn't track it down. So I have a Bronco. Nice. I had a Bronco as a kid. So I kind of went back to the thing I know. I love that car, but sad to see the Jeep go, but no more death wobble. I fell in love with this band called The Midnight in 2018. Do you know them, you guys?
Yeah, I've actually, yeah.
Oh boy. Josh, check them out.
I will.
They might hit your nostalgia button. It's like kind of 80s references.
Yeah.
It's sort of a little bit of electronic production, but just incredible lyrics and songwriting. They are just unbelievable. The guitar player right now is Rhett Shull, who has a YouTube channel and is like a big in guitar YouTube space. But he just joined the band. I love this band,
cool.
and I have loved them for a long time. And I got to go see them because Rhett and I are friends, and he was like, "Oh, you should come see the band." And he didn't quite realize like what a fan I am, and like what a fan I am of their singer Tyler Lyle. Like I don't get too like starstruck, but he was like, "Come hang out after the show." And I told my wife, because she came with me, I was like, "If we meet Tyler, you are gonna see us. I'm gonna try to keep it cool, but you are gonna see a side of me that maybe you don't know." And like, I was talking to the bass player, really awesome dude named Ollie, and the show was so great. And I heard this voice that I knew from the records talking to my wife off to my left in my peripheral. And I was like, zzz, and it was the friggin' singer, Tyler,
amazing,
talking to Emily. And I was like, really good show. Oh man, just trying to. And Emily was like, "Cool it, Allison." Like
chill out. Yeah.
But they're amazing, and
cool.
They're incredible. I would highly recommend. There's a record called Kids.
Yeah.
It's pretty short. It's just nostalgia soaked, beautiful tunes, beautiful soundscapes.
Amazing.
Really good stuff. Yeah.
Well, coming in for a landing here, Josh, was there a question? You said that you might have had a rapid fire question you wanted to add on to the very end.
Yes, I did. Sorry, this is not very rapid of me. I was going to ask you, what is one thing that you think every worship bassist should practice more?
Oh, wow. That's such a great question. When I did, when I used to get hired to go into like churches. I realized that soon I sort of realized that like there'd be worship directors that would hire me to come in, and they're kind of hiring me to do this to worship teams. Like, yeah. Stop. But I stopped trying to do that. And what I would do is just try to come in and give inspiration. But one thing that I think is really, really critical is this exercise. I do this every week on SBL, and I'm just going to do it right now.
Awesome.
It's very simple, but it isn't easy. And there's a difference there, right? It's like a simple thing. So you fire a click up, right? And I'll move this mic so we can kind of hear it, right? So we got click. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play whole notes to this click. So like on a C, I was a little ahead of that. And what I'm trying to do is push straight down the center of that beat. That one felt good. And I'm analyzing where I'm landing in real time. I'm a little behind it. That one felt nice, straight through the center. I was a little behind it. That one felt nice. I'll play half notes now. And I'm going for no clack. So I'm not getting any kind of clack out of my sound. I'm not doing that, right? I'm just going for nice, strong sound and pull. Okay, I'm subdividing in my body. Now I'm gonna go quarters, okay? And what I'm doing is I'm aiming straight for the middle. And my tendency is to actually be slightly behind because I like to hear the transient of the drum hit before my bass. But sometimes that gets me in trouble. So I'm really trying to put it right on. Now, if I lean too far forward, this is not grooving.
No.
Right? And if I lean too far backside, that's not happening either. Right? So I want to be dead lock, splitting the beat. I can spend all day. Now I'm going to move to eighths. And pocketing straight eighths this slow is freaking hard.
Yeah.
Like 70 BPM eighth notes is hard. Right? So then maybe I'll do like Pinot bounce. Like trying to get this bounce to feel right. Then just going back to straight. I'll take us up to triplets. Right? From there, I'll move to 16th notes. Ooh, rushed it. Right? And then I'll go back to triplets. Eighths. Straight eighths. Quarters. Half notes. So on and so forth, right? Then, last thing. I'll take a scale. Quarters. Eighths up, 16s down. quarters, eighths, 16s down. The tendency is to rush 16s home.
Yeah.
This is the tendency. Right? That's the tendency.
Yeah.
But to not do that. Right? So it's that. Like, honestly, when we're playing church music, it's click music. And to really honor that by being not being scared of this, not thinking it's dumb, not thinking that it's ruining your groove, not thinking that it's boring or that it sucks, that it's actually like an incredible tool of self-discovery. What's your tendency?
Yeah.
And if you can't discover that as you're playing, record it in a DAW. Where are you? When you play eighth notes, just zoom in and look. Logic will tell you. And it will be brutally honest. And where do you land? And what's your tendency? And it's interesting. You thought you were this, but you're actually this. And right. And like, if you're aiming for the center and you feel I think that is about as center as I can play. Everybody has a tendency, whether it's like to sit a little back on it, whether it's to push a little in front of it. But that exercise of whole notes, half, quarters, eighths, triplets, 16s back through. I do that every single week with people on SBL. We run that exercise, and it's huge. I think it's amazing for just intentionality.
Yeah.
Of like even just listening to yourself, because there's none of this. There's none of this nonsense. It's like your sound and your time. That's all.
Right.
You know, how's your pull? What's the sound? Do you like the sound you're getting out of your bass? Like, can you even get a nice consistent sound out of alternating two fingers, you know, with playing quarter notes? It's freaking hard, dude. Actually.
That's amazing.
So that's what, sorry, none of this has been rapid fire. I'm so sorry.
No, that was the end of it. So I love it. That was perfect.
Right. Cool.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was, you can ask Josh. We were geeking out. We were so excited to have you come on the podcast.
Oh man, it's my pleasure, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
This episode's coming out. It'll be like the beginning of July, because it's going to be the official 1 year anniversary of my podcast being out, and our podcast now. And so I was like, you know what? It just made sense to have you come on, because you were my inspiration for just going for it and doing it. And so I was like, kind of like the world's coming together, you know, for that episode. So
that's awesome.
I can't begin to say how much I appreciate it. I will add all of your links below, and I do a YouTube version of it also. So I'll have all your links in there. And coming from me personally, I was one of the people early on. I got a lifetime membership to SBL when he was offering those. Yeah, sure. So I ended up jumping on and was able to get that. And I cannot recommend it enough. Even like when you were talking about Sean Hurley, a couple of his lives.
I know.
Just sitting there and just absorbing, like him talking about right hand technique and all that.
I feel like he even did some lives like in his bedroom or something.
Yeah.
Like some real
it was
grainy
just like
360Ps.
Yeah. It was just like an amp and his phone.
Yes.
And that was it.
I remember that actually. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And all that stuff is just such good material. And like for people who are out there especially in the bass worship world, where like, man, I just want to learn how to get better. I cannot say enough about going to SBL, Scott's Bass Lessons.
Thank you,
and
Jay.
getting yourself a membership. Seriously, I love everything that y'all do. Hopefully, I told Josh one of these days I'm hoping to get Scott to come on, because I would absolutely love to just talk to him, because he's so funny.
Oh, dude, he's so fun. He's hard to nail down, but I hope I'll put in a good word. I'll put in a good word.
Well, maybe that'll be our 2-year anniversary.
There we go.
Or something.
That'd be awesome.
Anyway, cool, man. Well, again, I appreciate it, and I'll let you get going. So thank you.
Yeah, cool. Cheers, guys.
Thanks so much.
Take care.
And we're back. And I just want to say thank you again to Ian for coming on. As you could probably see in Josh and I's faces, we were just fanboying the whole time. It was just fun. Ian is just such a down-to-earth guy, just great for the bass community. Really thankful for him and for him sharing some of that stuff on here. Some other stuff I wanted to say is, again, just wanted to point y'all to the merch shop. If you want to go to the caption, you can see on the caption, it'll say exactly the link to it, or in our Instagram bio. Go check that out. Got some cool stuff in there that I think you guys are really going to love. I have a hat in the process, just getting the stitching stuff worked out. That'll be on that shop as well. And something I forgot to mention at the top is that there's international shipping in there. So anyone in the whole world can purchase from there. It'll be shipped directly to your door. We're going to have a special worship-based coffee hat on there. This particular hat will still just be a special release that we'll do throughout the year. It's the one that only hat that we've done. But that will only be special releases throughout the year, and they will not be in the shop, but there will be another hat in case you're wanting to get a hat. And if not, there's t-shirts, there's mugs, there's other drink stuff and stickers and stuff on there, just so that you guys can rep with me, the Worship-Based Coffee Podcast, and we can help continue to grow this together. So I'm really thankful for everybody out there. Like today this week I received an email from somebody who had just discovered, and I just really enjoyed what he had to say. Sent me an email and just talked about how it really meant a lot to him. It really resonated with him. And I can't tell you how much that means to myself and to Josh, as we kind of pour our soul into this, for it to be resonating with you guys and for you guys to really be enjoying it. That means a lot. I can't even begin to say that. So, again, if you guys want to check that stuff out, it's worshipbasedcoffee.spreadshop.com. Check that out. Check out the stuff on there. Hope you guys enjoy it. Had you guys in mind for it. Lastly, just wanted to give my not weekly, but bi-weekly music to listen to. It's a band called The Forgettables. And the lead singer and the writer from all this is actually Park Cottrell, who is actually a guest he was my first guest on the show. He's bassist in the band Colony House. But he's also written some of his own stuff and produced it, recorded it all in his own studio and put it out. And it's some really good stuff. He's got a fantastic voice. I enjoy listening to it, and it's got a kind of a 90s vibe to it, which I told him, I was like, dude, this sounds like something straight out of the 90s. And he loved that. He was just like, yes, that's what I was going for. So just wanted to put that out there for you guys to check out. The Forgettables. I think you would really enjoy it. It's on Spotify and on Instagram. So last thing before we sign off, just wanted to say thank you again for listening. If you know anybody that is not listening, hey, please share with somebody so we can continue to grow the podcast. And I'm just grateful for everybody that is here right now. And just want to say how much I appreciate you guys. So with that said, we're going to end season 2, episode 1, the same way we do every episode. And that is, remember, don't forget to tell someone you love that you love them. And we'll see you next time.